Welcome to Outside View Scandals, where we dive into history's most shocking betrayals. And today we're taking a look at one of the most notorious backstabs in ancient history. That's Alcibiades and his betrayal of Athens during the Peloponnesian War. Now, betrayal is always a messy business, but Alcibiades took it to a whole new level. This guy didn't just switch sides once. He jumped ship so many times, it's a wonder anyone ever trusted him in the first place. But let's start with who Alcibiades was. He was an Athenian statesman, general, and apparently quite the charmer. Think of him as the celebrity of ancient Greece, but not the kind you'd want to trust with your state secrets. Alcibiades was born into a wealthy and influential family in Athens around 450 BC. Raised by none other than the philosopher Pericles, you might think this would instill some loyalty or integrity. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Now, Alcibiades was ambitious, and I mean ambitious. His dream was to restore Athens to its former glory and become the big hero in the process. During the Peloponnesian War, a decades-long struggle between Athens and Sparta, Alcibiades saw his chance to rise to power. He convinced the Athenians to launch a massive expedition to Sicily in 415 BC, and his pitch? Take over Sicily and Athens would dominate the entire Mediterranean. Sounds good, right? Well, spoiler alert number 2, it didn't go so well. But before we get to that disaster, let's talk about Alcibiades' first betrayal. Just as the Athenian fleet was about to set sail for Sicily, Alcibiades found himself in hot water. He was accused of desecrating religious statues known as the Herms and performing some rather scandalous rites of initiation. Not the kind of guy you want leading your sacred military mission, right? Well, Alcibiades wasn't about to stick around to find out if he'd be convicted. He did what any rational person in his position would do. He ran off to Sparta. Yeah, you heard that right. The guy who convinced Athens to launch a massive war campaign against Sparta fled to Sparta. But it gets better. Alcibiades didn't just hide out in Sparta. Oh no. He became their military advisor. Imagine that. One day you're Athens' golden boy, the next you're helping Sparta take down your hometown. He even advised the Spartans on how to defeat the Athenians. You've got to admire the audacity. Alcibiades told the Spartans to fortify a position at Deceleia, which allowed them to cut off Athenian supply lines. Athens, already weakened by the Sicilian disaster, was now on its knees thanks to its former hero. But guess what? The story doesn't end there. You see, Alcibiades wasn't content just betraying Athens once. He went on to betray Sparta too. Apparently, the Spartans got a bit suspicious when Alcibiades started getting a little too cozy with the wife of one of their kings. Oops! So, what did our boy do? You guessed it. He fled again. And this time, he found himself in Persia, of all places. Now, you'd think after betraying Athens and then Sparta, Alcibiades might lie low for a while. But no. He became an advisor to the Persian satrap Tissaphernes. And what did he advise? He played both Athens and Sparta against each other, of course. At this point, Alcibiades had more allegiances than anyone could keep track of. He was a free agent hopping between teams like a mercenary with no loyalty. But here's the kicker. After all this betrayal, guess who decided to forgive Alcibiades? Yep. That's right, Athens. In 411 BC, the Athenians, desperate for military leadership, welcomed him back with open arms. I mean, sure, he'd betrayed them to their enemies. Sure, he basically caused the downfall of their empire. But hey, why not give him another shot? And to his credit, Alcibiades did win a few battles for Athens after his return. He led the Athenian fleet to victory at the Battle of Cyzicus in 410 BC, which temporarily restored Athens' hope in the war. But like any good scandal, it didn't last. In 406 BC, after the defeat in the Battle of Notium, Alcibiades fell out of favor once again, and this time, instead of fleeing to another enemy, Alcibiades retired to a fortress in Thrace. I guess even he ran out of sides to betray eventually. But the scandal doesn't end with Alcibiades riding off into the sunset. In 404 BC, with Athens on the verge of collapse, Alcibiades was assassinated. The details of his death are murky, but it's believed he was killed on the orders of the Spartans. It seems that even in retirement, Alcibiades couldn't escape the consequences of his betrayals. So what's the lesson here? Maybe it's that switching sides in a war will catch up to you eventually. Or maybe it's just that Alcibiades was the kind of guy who could charm his way out of almost anything until he couldn't. In the end, Alcibiades' life was a web of shifting allegiances, betrayals, and ambition. He was a man who wanted it all, glory, power, and fame, but ended up paying the ultimate price for his disloyalty. And let's be real, who didn't see that one coming? So, thanks for watching Outside View Scandals, and let me know in the comments if you trust Alcibiades, or if you'd rather keep him as far away as possible. And I'll see you next time with another deep dive into history's most shocking betrayals, and one more you can find right here in the end screen.